and he had to shut down his clinic because he was accused of groping. And since then, he's became I guess, a general practitioner or internist.
Well, basically what they are is they're all internal medicine specialists, and then they branch out. Unless they're going to be a surgeon, which is a real specialty, and a pyramid type of deal, schooling. You major in internal medicine, and then you branch out into whatever area you want to concentrate in.
Were you mentioning before the cop that died today?
What was that?
The cop that died today, what were you saying?
Brian Moore. What about him?
No, 26 years old. Was it?
25.
25. 5 years on the force, graduated, I guess, community college.
He joined in 2010, fresh out of school. Went through the academy. I really don't know where he was, what precinct he was working out of, but tragedy. Someone so young. I mean, it's tragic when anybody gets killed.
Yeah.
But, he was only trying to do his job.
Yeah. He was in an unmarked car.
Right.
Not in uniform. But I guess that guy who shot him knew they were cops.
Well, he saw that they were looking at him, and he was acting very suspicious. They called him over. They were calling him over, and that's when he, I believe, pulled out his weapon and shot him.
Yeah, they said the cops thought he was carrying just the way he was holding his belt and stuff.
The officer, he identified himself as an officer, so it's not like the alleged perpetrator. We must watch our terminology here. The supposed shooter, he did what he did.
And what do you think of Baltimore in that?
Well, from the Sunday morning, talk shows and everything. And again, we know we're straying from our topic. But
we always do.
Yeah, I understand. I realize that. It would be nice if somebody called in and shared their marital experiences with us on their wedding day.
Yeah, would you like to share yours? I didn't do a very good job sharing mine.
Well, I will say that the second time around, first of all, we got married in my father-in-law's backyard. He lived in Strong's Neck in Setauket, and he had a backyard with a 50-foot bluff and then a private beach, and all the boats were out on the private beach. It was a beautiful sight. You could see Connecticut off to the left and Port Jeff Harbor off to the right. And everybody said, it wasn't your typical wedding because it was a party. I mean, people were dressed in suits and dressed appropriately, except for one person.
I'm sorry about that.
Didn't know you back then. But everybody had a great time. They really did. I'll tell you what happened to me. Talk about, situations and everything. I got very sick. I got viral pneumonia and 102 fever with an ear infection.
Ooh.
So I couldn't even fly, all right, because of my ear infection. So Ellen checked the Sunday Times in the travel section, and she found one of those 5-day cruises to nowhere where you go out beyond the 5-mile limit and you can gamble. And, we booked our reservation. And I'll tell you another interesting story on the honeymoon. I'm not a gambler. I will feed dollars into the slot machines.
That's still gambling.
Well, but you see, I'm not one who will play 21 or roulette or anything like that. The Wheel of Fortune, call it whatever you will. But I like the slots, and you never really win with the slots. But I kept feeding in $1 or $2 at a time. And all of a sudden, I hear sirens go off. Now, this is aboard ship. Sirens go off, and bells and whistles and lights. And I'm looking up, and I notice it's coming from my machine, So I'm standing there, showing absolutely no emotion, because don't forget, I still have pneumonia, okay? We managed to go away, but I still had fever, and I still had pneumonia. And the dollar bill, silver dollars are pouring out. Load them into a bucket, and they total it up, and I think I won over $300.
All right.
I went upstairs to our cabin, I won't even call it a stateroom. It was more like
cabin.
It was more like a box.
Your cabin.
Yeah. And I lay down. I was going to take a nap. And before I fell asleep, Ellen said she was going to go down and she was going to try her luck. So she took all of $20, went downstairs, and about 30 minutes later she comes back, and I said, well, it didn't take you long to lose your money. At which point, now she, meanwhile, had a sweatshirt on that she was clutching to her chest. She had her bathing suit on underneath because, going to take a dip, or she assumed she was. And all of a sudden, she comes over to the bed, lets the sweatshirt open up, another $250 from the same machine. Okay? Which, what we did was we immediately, when we got to Bermuda, we bought ourselves matching Seiko watches, very thin, okay, now you're going back to 1983, okay, when, I don't know what to call it, a slim line or whatever it was, first came out. And we figured that was found money, so let's just spend it. What the hell? But that was the one of the first times that we got very lucky. And what happened was they gutted our machine. Because it paid off twice. Not only did it pay off twice, but it paid off twice to the same family, us. We wound up with $600 between us. So, and then the machine was never the same after that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So that's my story.
Now, how was your first wedding?
Well,
and mind you, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
No, I'll only mention the good. I mean, I got weak in the knees. I have to admit, after being married the first time, when I married Ellen, I was not weak in the knees. I didn't feel all that strong because, like I said, I had pneumonia. But I was excited, and we were happy. Okay, but the first time I got married, I was didn't know what to expect. We were both very young. I think I was 23, and she was just turning 20, something like that. Yeah, she just turning 20. All of my relatives were there because, back then, everybody was alive, So it was nice to have all your cousins and your family together to share in a joyous occasion, And we went to Puerto Rico on our honeymoon. In fact, it's funny. I'll tell you a story about what happened. We had eaten in one of the restaurants with another couple, and we went out. The waiter actually ran after us because he said we didn't leave a big enough tip. I've never seen that before.
No.
But he actually, and we did leave a tip, don't get me wrong, and it was not a cheap tip, but he said we didn't leave enough. What I should have done was take $10 away from him, but I did give him a little extra money. And like I said, we met another young couple. This was really funny. My ex-wife was on the pill, and Freddie and Janie was on the pill. And I think she forgot her birth control, or she lost it, or something like that. And my ex-wife gave her one of hers because they were on the same thing, It was really quite funny, we were all young. We didn't know what the hell was going on, to be perfectly honest with you, And, I wouldn't say we weren't happy, otherwise why do people get married? But I will say, as I said to my son and his wife, that forget about what everybody tells you, this is something that is uncharted territory and waters for them. They could listen to everybody, give them advice, but the bottom line is they have to do things and learn things for themselves. And that's the best way to go about doing it, really. I said some other things as well, but, and then this is what I told the same thing to her maid of honor and her boyfriend. We were talking, and that's it, So, I think here it's almost 10 o'clock, which means we've been on the air almost 45 minutes, I believe.
Which means we have to play a song.
It would be nice if we can get a song that has something to do with marriage, like love and marriage. But I have no idea what Felix has selected, but...
I have nothing like that, unfortunately.
Well, then why don't we sing our own song?
Love and
marriage, love and marriage. You all remember Married with Children? Well, that's Frank Sinatra singing the same song. Go together like a horse and carriage. This I tell you, brother. You can't have one without the other. Yada, yada, yada. And then we have...